Just to be clear, this video is for experienced caregivers who operate private or practice privately and are finding it very, very difficult and hard to get hired by families, especially in their location. Now, if you think that there is no job out there, or families, it's hard to find families that will hire you, especially for the rates that you want to be paid, then this video is exactly meant for you. At the end of this video, you will know the exact strategy that top earning caregivers are using to get hired directly by families in their location, and the same strategy that is helping them to get fairly paid by these families. Most importantly, you will learn how you can use and execute these same strategies to start getting hired and paid fairly by families in your location. Now, the strategies I'm going to share with you on this video in the next 25 to 30 minutes, if you were to hire a professional consultant to help you diagnose the problem and recommend a solution to you, is likely going to cost you between $2,500 to $3,000 per session with the consultant. But here I am giving it to you completely free. The only thing I need you to do right now is to ensure that you eliminate every form of distraction, because we're about to get serious. I mean, this is a life-changing moment right now for you. And if this really is important to your finances, to change the situation you're in right now, you want to get better income so that you can be able to afford the life you truly want to live and get you on the path of being financially free, then I honestly recommend that you do away with any form of distraction, turn off the notification from your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, and ensure that you are focused in the next 25 to 30 minutes. Most importantly, get a notepad and pen to write the strategies that I'm going to share with you, because trust me, you will certainly need it later. Okay, that being said, let's get in. A few days ago, I was on Facebook and I was looking through some of the groups for caregivers on Facebook, and I keep seeing comments, posts that refers to people looking for jobs, looking for families to hire them, and all of that. And it just kind of occurred to me that, hold on, is it that some of these caregivers actually think that it's very difficult to get hired or be hired by a family? Because that is probably the reason why caregivers kind of sign up with agencies, because agencies literally help them, give them placements to work with families, and the families pay the agency, and then the agency, take their cut and pay the caregiver. So the agency stands as the middle person in between the family and the caregiver. Now, one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why most caregivers see the agency as a lifesaver is because they believe that the agency will help them get placement with families, right? Help them work with families. But the reality is this: most families prefer to work directly with the caregiver and not the agency. And I'm not going to get into that equation. The part that I want to bring out here is that it's difficult for you to find your own clients as a private caregiver to hire you, especially hiring you for the rate you want to be paid. And the most important part is finding the family in the location where you live that will hire you. So sometimes you get a job, but it's not at the location where you like to work because you don't live in that location. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you that is not true exactly. As a matter of fact, there are families right now in your location who are looking to hire you. So the problem is not that there are no families to hire you. The problem is that you're not findable. And we're going to talk about that. Now, before I dive into this, I want to clarify that, yes, I do understand that there are caregivers who are currently struggling and finding it frustrating to get hired by families. It's true. I mean, I'm not even going to dispute that. I mean, you probably have that same situation, which is why you're watching this video right now. Yes, it's true. But at the same time, I have spoken with caregivers. As a matter of fact, a few days ago, I was on a call with a caregiver who literally told me that she currently earns $300 per day as a live-in caregiver. She also shared a testimony with me of another caregiver that she works with that earns $48 an hour as a caregiver. Now, the reality is this, and this is what I figured out. There are caregivers who are intentional in their approach and are structural in what they do as regards to finding the family they want to work with, approaching the family, and then getting hired, versus the caregiver who just approach the whole situation without intentionality and without structure. I discovered that caregivers who decide to be structural and intentional always outperform the ones who are unstructured and unintentional about the approach. And we're going to get into that. So what are the strategies? What are the things that the intentional and structured caregiver are doing that the unintentional and unstructured caregiver are not doing, that distinguishes this person, this caregiver who is structured versus these other caregiver that operates unstructured and unintentional? So I want to show you how you can go from this caregiver to becoming this caregiver who gets paid on our own terms, our own rate, and gets hired consistently when she has an open schedule to work with families. So what is the difference? What is this caregiver doing that this other caregiver is not doing? Or what does this caregiver knows that this other caregiver does not know? And I'm sharing this with you because I've spoken to several numbers of caregivers who are being very, very intentional and structural, and this is what I've learned from them. First, the structural and intentional caregiver knows exactly who they want to work with. Now, every caregiver have an area of specialization. You do have your own area of specialization, which is beautiful because that's the area where you're skilled at, right? But the question is, do you know exactly who you want to work with in your area of specialization? What do I mean by that? Do you have a mental picture written out on paper in a descriptive way that tells you this is the kind of care, this is the kind of family that I want to work with? Do you have a mental image, a mental picture of the family you want to work with? I'll give you an example. For example, you see, when it comes to families, I'll say there are two categories of families. There is a family who is ready to pay the cheapest price for care. So when they are rating you based on other people's prices, and they go for the lowest or cheapest price possible and hire that caregiver. There is that category of family, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's very okay, right? But the intentional and structured caregiver knows that the income they want to make for the life they want to live and the things they want to do for themselves and their family, working with those kind of families would not help them achieve their personal financial goals, because the money is in the high level, the high class. So they tell themselves, you know what, I'm going to work with families who understand professionalism, the value I bring to the table, the outcome I can help them achieve, and most importantly, they have the financial wherewithal to pay for my rate, to pay for the value that I bring to the table. And honestly, there are those families who do not care about how much your rate is, but the value you bring to the table. So they are not hiring you based on your rate, they are hiring you based on the outcome you can help them achieve as a caregiver. So my simple question to you is, which market are you honestly focused on? Are you deliberate and intentional about? And is your structure, your approach built to attract and serve that market, that family you are choosing to work with? Let's move on to strategy number 2. Now, strategy number 2 is your care promise. What is a care promise? A care promise is what I am promising you that my service will deliver to you. So by the time I am done with our contract of providing care and assisting your loved one, this is the outcome. This is who, or this is what will happen with your loved one, right? And again, that is relative depending on your area of specialty. So the question is, when you perform your responsibility, your care, right, in your area, in your niche, in your area of specialty, what is the outcome of that care? That becomes your care promise. You need to craft it out. You have to be deliberate and intentional about crafting that out, because that is one major distinctive factor between the intentional and structured caregiver versus the unintentional and unstructured caregiver, right? So the number 2 strategy is, do you have a care promise. Number three strategy is they develop a social profile that makes them findable. It's not enough for you to be specialized in an area of care. You need to know who you want to work with. You need to have your care promise to communicate to the family you want to work with, right? But most importantly, at this stage, you need to be findable. Because if you have your care promise, you know who you want to work with, and people cannot find you, you are invisible, then you're just going to stay broke. And it's probably the reason why you're struggling right now because you think that there are no families out there who are hiring. Meanwhile, there are families currently actively looking to hire you, but they can't find you because you are not findable. So, how do you become findable? Simple. Currently, I'm pretty sure you have a Facebook page or Facebook account or Facebook profile, or you have Instagram profile, or you have your TikTok profile, or maybe LinkedIn, or you have all four of them, which is beautiful. How are you leveraging these tools? Because the intentional and structured caregiver knows that these social media platforms are one of our high leverage tools to be findable. And how does she leverage them to be findable? Simple. She once in every 3 days, or every day, if you can do it, she creates content. And the content can be in form of video, text, or graphics. And in those content, she talks about what she does and the value that she brings to the table and the kind of family she works with. She creates content about the problem she solves in her niche. She talks about it on our social media platforms. She shares information, she provides information, and I'll tell you what that does. With the current algorithm structure for these social media platforms, when a family goes online on Facebook or anywhere and they type, for example, let's assume your niche is dementia, and they type caregiver that offer dementia care, our content shows up. And when our content shows up in that search, it takes them to our profile where they will find more information about her that she has posted about what she does, the value she brings to the table, and who she likes to work with. And guess what happens? The family gets into her DM and send her a DM. That is because she had made herself findable. She is very, very intentional and structural about it. Structural means that there is a process that she deliberately goes through or executes consistently. You have to become findable. Now, strategy number four is becoming findable brings the clients to you. That puts the result on the decision of the client to decide to find you, which means that if the client do not find you, then you will not have clients. Number four strategy is the caregiver moves away from a comfort zone into the rooms and places where these families are already, and she connects with the people who can introduce her to the families who need her care, or she directly connects with the family and introduces herself. So there are two strategies here within this strategy of going out and going to the places where these families are already. And I'll share with you two places where you can find these families who are actively currently looking for caregivers, who are actively looking to hire you. And this is your most important leverage for getting clients. I call this the client acquisition engine. I'll share two places with you. But before I get into that, you see, the two strategies here are: number one, you need a referrer. You need someone to refer you to the family. You need to connect with a partner. You need to build a relationship with a partner that can connect you with these families, partners that works directly with these families that this family already trusts. So your strategy here is to leverage on partnership, on the integrity, the relationship of a middle person, which is the partner that the family already trusts, the family already know, and the family is willing to listen to. Who are those partners? Nurses, doctors, high level care professionals, healthcare professionals that work directly with the family and help the family to take care of their loved one. Let me explain. Where do your patients come from? They come from families. When the patient have an ailment, they fall sick or something, where do the family takes them to? Takes them to the healthcare center, the hospitals. Who works at the hospital? The doctors and nurses. The doctors and nurses help these patients to get better, to solve the problem. Now, the process of solving the problem or the problem being solved requires healing. And that process of healing is where you come in as a caregiver to help the patient heal through the process, or at least manage the patient's health in the case of permanent disability or whatever it is. Manage the patient's health so the patient can live longer, have a better quality of life, as the case may be, right? That's where you come in. But before you come in, the doctors and the nurses and other care professionals, the surgeons, depending on what the case is, they've related with the family and the patient directly. Those are your first point of contact, your partners who you should connect with, build a relationship with, because they are the ones who will professionally refer you to the families. You see, the best form of marketing from time immemorial, right, up till now, the best form of marketing is the traditional kind of marketing, and which is word of mouth, referrals, recommendation, because it does 80% of the work even before you open your mouth to say anything about yourself to the family. Referral is so strong. So, do you have your referral system? You see, the intentional structured caregiver have a referral system that she has built and that she uses, that she connects with to get jobs. And you're wondering, how is this caregiver always getting jobs? She's always getting, anytime she has an open calendar, an open schedule, there's always a family hiring her because she has a system, she has a network of referrals that are always constantly mentioning her name and what she does and the value she brings to the table and the outcome she can help the family achieve through care to families. And guess what? The secret. She pays or tips or gives commission to these referrals, our partners, because that serves as a motivation for them to always refer her to these families. So she appreciates them by giving them commission. Not in all cases, but in some cases. Do you have your referral system? Now, the second strategy in this, stepping out to go to where the families are, is you connecting directly with the families. And where do you connect directly with these families? Churches, local associations in your area, your community, right? If you're a Muslim, at a mosque, right? These places, societal associations, because these are people living there. Introduce yourself, talk about what you do. You have to be out there. You have to be intentional about it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. As a matter of fact, if you feel ashamed about what you do, then you shouldn't be doing it. Go find something else to do. You have to be intentional because this is what you do. This is how you help society. You're not just doing a work, you are helping lives. You're a lifesaver. Your work is so important. You are so important in the society that the society constantly needs you. So when you come into the room, be proud. Square up your shoulder. Talk about what you do, the value you bring to the table, how you help life, the outcome you provide, your service as a caregiver provides. People will be more than glad to connect with you and hire you for your service, because you're not just doing a job, you are fulfilling a mission. Okay, number 5. Now, it's not enough for you to walk into the room and talk about what you do or connect with your partners who refer you to the client. Now, this step, number five strategy is, at the same time, even if someone recommends you to the family, you still have to sell yourself. You still have to make the family feel very confident that you're the right person for the job and no other person is needed. You are the only person they need. And how do you do that? You do that through conversation. What do you say? What are the things you say? How do you structurally present yourself? So I'll give you the difference. Now, the unstructured and unintentional caregiver approaches the situation by, she says something like this: I have 6 years or 8 years of caregiving experience. I've worked here, I've worked there, and I'm available at XYZ time, and this is my rate. Right? That's what the unstructured and unintentional caregiver would do. And the family would likely go like, okay, this is what we want you to do, this is your responsibility, but this is how much we're willing to pay you. So the family take control of the conversation and determines how much they want to pay the caregiver. And in most cases, they eventually reach an agreement after negotiation. Some cases they don't. Okay. But for the intentional caregiver, she doesn't talk about this is how many years of experience I have. She doesn't talk about these are my terms. Terms comes into play, but not immediately. She doesn't talk about these are my rates. Rate comes into play, but not immediately. What she talks about and dwells on, what first of all, she controls the conversation. She leads the conversation. She does not follow the conversation. She leads the conversation. She does not let the family lead the conversation. How does she lead the conversation? She leads the conversation like the doctors would do. She would do a diagnosis, ask questions about the health condition of their patient, of the loved one, right? What is this? She understands, first of all, she asks questions to understand the situation first, and then next, she starts explaining how she can help. And thirdly, she clarifies what a help, a service would do for the family, the outcome. By the time she's done talking value, then the family in their head already, in their mind already having a sense of what this person is worth. You see, before she mentioned her rate, the family already are having a sense, an understanding of what this caregiver is actually worth for the value she's bringing to the table. So this caregiver communicates value first before price. This caregiver communicates experience and price first. You see the difference? You see the difference why this person will always be paid highly and this will just go with the flow. Structure, intentionality. Your conversation, there is a structural way to communicate that makes the family feels in their mind, you know what? This person deserves to be paid $40 an hour. This is the right person that we must hire. If not this person, nobody else. That is the difference. And the last strategy I want to share with you. All of these 5 strategies we've talked about so far. Strategy number 1, decide who you want to work with. Strategy number 2, build and have your own care promise. Strategy number 3 is get seen, become findable, don't be invisible. Leverage your social media accounts, profiles to be findable. Strategy number 4, walk into the room where these caregivers, where these families already are. Connect with referrals, build your referrals portfolio or your referral network. Strategy number 5, your conversation structure with the family. Now, all of these 5 put together, what the intentional and structure caregiver does is she built these 5 structurally and puts them into a system that she calls a playbook. The playbook becomes a manual, a blueprint that whenever she wants to get hired, she brings it out, revise it, go through every step that she has outlined out, right? And then she just executes on it. And once she executes on it, she gets results. She gets hired. It's like garbage in, garbage out. As long as you have the formula and you apply the formula, you're going to get the result. It's inevitable. You see, that is what makes her intentional and structural, because she has a playbook that she can take, and anytime she wants to get hired based on her rate and attempt, she just executes what is in her playbook already, these 5 things that I have shared with you, and then she gets hired. And the other caregiver is over there posting on social media, on Facebook, that she's looking for a job, while this other person is attracting and constantly getting hired by families and being fairly paid on her own terms. You see the difference? And this is true because one of Newton's laws of motion, or Newton's first law of motion, states that all objects remains at the state of rest until a force is applied, until an external force is applied. I paraphrased that, which means that you will not get results until you do something different that will help you get results, that will help you get the result that you want. One of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You want a different result, but you're doing the same thing. You want to get the result that the intentional and structural caregiver is getting, but you are operating and approaching the situation like the unstructured and unintentional caregiver. You're not going to get the result. You're going to keep getting the same result you've been getting as unintentional and unstructured caregiver. It's the fact. It's the honest fact. The structured and intentional caregiver have an understanding that having a system, a playbook, is what gives her results. You see, understanding is the thing that is under what is standing. I'll say that again. Understanding is the invisible thing, the external force that is under what is standing. So if you see something standing, if you see a caregiver constantly getting hired, constantly being paid highly for the work that she does, being hired on her terms, and she's living an amazing life, being able to afford her bills, she has avoided burnout because now she's working on her own terms. If she's succeeding, I guarantee you 100%, she has something under that success. That is understanding. She has a force that is making a system work, which is a playbook. Because success does not happen on its own. There's always a force, an external force. There's an effect. There's a cause that is creating the effect. There is a cause creating the effect. What is your cause that is creating your effect? What is the thing that is under what is standing that you want to achieve? What is your playbook? Do you have your playbook? And if you have your playbook, are these 5 strategies I just shared with you in your playbook? Are they well structured and detailed, broken down, step by step, that anytime you carry it, you know exactly what to do? And when you do those things, you get a result. Are they well structured out the correct way in your playbook? If your answer to that question is honestly no, and you want to build and have your own playbook that will help you get hired consistently and paid fairly on your terms, then I want to invite you to the direct family hire section where we build your playbook. It's a 3-day live section, not a recorded section like this video you're watching, right? It's a live session. You join myself and my team on Zoom, right? And then over 3 days, myself and my team with other caregivers who are part of the section as well will build your playbook. At the end of the 3-day, what you work out with is you work out with your complete playbook, completely built. And the next thing you need to do is to start executing on that playbook. What does that mean? It means you start taking action on the steps we create in the playbook. And our guarantee is if you do that within the first 30 days after the 3 days, you certainly will get hired. So building the playbook is not enough, but using the playbook is the most important part. If you use what we will build with you and help you build during the 3-day live event, then you will get hired. It's non-negotiable. It's inevitable rather. It is inevitable because it is a system that constantly works. So if you want to be part of the session, it's completely simple. All you need to do is go to KerlHive.com/hire section. The link is on your screen right now, right? And there's a button below this video, right? What you can do is click on the button, takes you directly to the page where you can save, where you can sign up for your session. The 3-day session, like I said, and all 3 days will build your playbook step by step across all of these strategies I have shared with you. If you decide to be part of this 3 days live session, now there are some additional things we are going to give to you. First thing you will get is the live playbook build experience. You see, like I said, there will be other caregivers in this section as well, and you are going to experience how we will help you and the other caregivers build their own playbook live. Every pieces, every facet of each strategy, breaking down and built to become a system. Number two thing you're going to get is your care promise, custom to you and the niche that you serve, the people who you want to work with, your area of specialty, your custom care promise. No two caregivers should literally have the same care promise, even if you operate in the same niche or have the same area of expertise or work in the same area of expertise. Your care promise is custom to you. So you're going to be able to build your own care promise because this is your distinguished factor that makes you different from every other caregiver. Is the factor that makes you stand out from the crowd and be outstanding. It's not enough to stand out from the crowd. You have to be outstanding. This is that factor. This is that onion that makes you become outstanding. Your custom care promise, well crafted in the 3 days. Thirdly, what you're going to get is conversation script, right? What do you say? The structure of what you say. How do you say it? See, I'll tell you this. Every great person, every successful person that is crushing it in sales, in client acquisition, in getting hired, they have a structural way how they present themselves. They don't just come out and just say things because it comes out of their head. They pre-plan and know exactly what to say at what point and at what time and how to say it, the modulation of the words and all of that, right? Because words communicate feelings and feelings influences decision. I'll say that again. Words communicate feelings and feelings influences decision. And guess what? People do not make decisions out of logical reasoning. They make most decisions out of emotional reasoning. And how you use your words to connect with their emotions is what we're going to teach you. Because if you can connect with their emotions, then they justify their decision based on their logical reasoning. But their decision is actually made from the place of emotion that you've connected with the words you say, which is your conversational script. So you're going to get that. Additionally, you're going to get what we call your referral partner map. You remember I talked about your client acquisition engine, which is connecting, building your network of referrals that connect you with these families. That is the most important aspect of your client acquisition, getting hired, because it is the engine that consistently brings clients to you. We're going to help you build that in the 3 days. And you're going to have your referral partners map built in for you. And then that is not enough. We have decided to give you access to all replays of the 3 days for 30 days. So you can rewatch them at your own pace and at your own time within the period of 30 days so that you go through your playbook and see if you've done the right thing. And if you need to make adjustment, then go ahead and make adjustment. But you will have access to all the 3 days replay to rewatch them at your own pace and at your own time. You see, rewatching them is going to expose you to tweaking some things, which is why we created this last bonus for you to give you the opportunity to be part of the exclusive circle made only for the caregivers who are in this process of building their own playbook system, who are becoming intentional and structural about getting hired. So this circle is not for everybody. It's for only the caregivers who go through this 3-day session and are building their own playbook system. So in that circle, you get support, you get accountability, you'll be held accountable to ensure that you get results. You would get guidance even from your fellow caregivers as well, where you can share ideas and opportunities, right? And most importantly, you will be able to share your testimonies. And if you hit a rock or you hit a hurdle, I will be there, my team will be there, other caregivers will be there to help you get over the hurdles. So the community is so well important. And one last thing. For us, KerlHive, what we're actually building is we are building a platform that connects families and caregivers directly together. What we want to do is we want to give you the opportunity to be one of the first few persons that we will prioritize as caregivers and place you on the platform so that families can find you and hire you directly. So this is not for everybody, it's only for those who are part of this session, because when you go through the session, you become a structured and intentional caregiver who knows what he or she is doing. So we want to have you on the platform so that families can connect with you and hire you directly on that platform. So these are special bonus to you for deciding to join this 3-day event. Now, because you're part of the circle, you're part of our community, you only get to pay a one-time fee of $247, right? So go on the link on the screen right now, KerlHive.com/hire section, and go book your section immediately. Now, I need to tell you this, that the price goes up from $247 to $497 by Sunday. So by Saturday midnight, the price for $247 will no longer be available. It goes straight up to $497, which is the original price for this live section. That being said, I look forward to having you in the 3-day live session and connecting to build your playbook with you. Cheers.